I am here.
You're the only one that's apparently going to be joining us tonight.
Honestly, I find that to be unfortunate.
Yeah, I gave everyone a chance. Nobody else wants to read. I am inviting Mad Mike, so he might join us. People might jump in a little later. And just so that you all know, Raven here is very, very naughty, according to YouTube. Just saying. So in honor of that, if you guys did want to donate, I do suggest not using super chats. Please use Streamlabs because all the money goes directly to our wonderful artist tonight. And toward the guinea pig. Who will show you his balls, I guess. But, so we're going to be starting out with one of the Band 6 books. You roaring at everybody? Don't roar at everybody. Wait for when we do the Zeus story to roar at everybody. You little guinea pig. There we go. The first one we're starting with is, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Wow, we haven't even gotten that far in and I messed up. I don't need a comment from you, but thank you, Mage. So you got all the books as well, so I don't need to get them for you. So there won't be any background music, guys. You're gonna have to suffer with this. Just being the way it is. With the wholesome little guinea pig cam. This is indeed on Twitch as well, and there's a link in the description if you want to hop over there. Our goal for Twitch tonight is over 75 viewers, so let's try to get that to happen. So I'll read first, and if you want to pick the next book, you can read the next one.
I will indeed. In fact, I have selected out of the Band 6 the book entitled On Beyond Zebra, if you like.
Dang. You know, I honestly didn't remember that was a Dr. Seuss book until I saw the band list.
It is, but as soon as you start reading it, it becomes fairly obvious.
Yeah, those animals are just so terrible. So let's start. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. No, please work. Why is this not? Uh-oh. Hold on, technical difficulties. Right. Thank you, image thing. Oh no. Do you? Don't text me. There we go. Aha! There we go. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. When I leave home to walk to school, Dad always says to me, Marco, you keep your eyelids up and see what you can see. But when I tell him where I've been and what I think I've seen, he looks at me and sternly says, your eyesight's much too keen. Stop telling such outlandish tales. Stop turning minnows into whales. Thank you. Now, what can I say when I get home today? That the image is far too small. That's what I can say. All the long way to school and all the way back, I've looked and I've looked and I've kept track, but all that I've noticed, except my own feet, was a horse and a wagon on Mulberry Street. That's nothing to tell of. That won't do, of course. Just a broken down wagon that's drawn by a horse. That can't be my story. That's only a start. I'll say that a zebra was pulling that cart. And that is a story that no one will beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Yes, the zebra is fine, but I think it's a shame. Such a marvelous beast, with a cart that's so tame. The story would really be better to hear if the driver I saw were a charioteer. A gold and blue chariot, something to meet, rumbling like thunder down Mulberry Street. No, it won't do at all. A zebra's too small. A reindeer, that's better. He's fast and he's fleet. And he looked mighty smart on old Mulberry Street. Hold on a minute. There's something wrong. A reindeer hates the way it feels to pull a thing that runs on wheels. He'd be much happier instead if he could pull a fancy sled. Hold on, let me see. How does it look on the screen? Okay, good. It looks good. A reindeer and sled? Say, anyone could think of that. Jack or Fred, or Joe or Nat. Say, even Jane could think of that. But it's too late to make one little change. A sleigh and an elephant, that's something strange. I'll pick one with plenty of power and size, a blue one with plenty of fun in his eyes, and then, just to give him a little more tone, have a Raja with rubies perched high on a throne. Say, that makes a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But now, I don't know. It still doesn't seem right. An elephant pulling a thing that is so light? Would whip it around in the air like a kite. But he looks simply grand with a great big brass band. A band that's so good should have someone to hear it. But it's going so fast that it's hard to keep near it. I'll put on a trailer. I know they won't mind if a man sits and listens while hitched on behind. But now, is it fair? Is it fair what I've done? I'll bet those wagons weigh more than a ton. That's really too heavy, a load for one beast. I'll give him some helpers. He needs two at least. But now what worries me is this. Mulberry Street runs into bliss. Unless there's something I can fix up, there'll be an awful traffic mix-up. It takes police to do the trick, to guide them through where traffic's thick. It takes police to do the trick. They'll never crash now. They'll race at top speed, with a Sergeant Mulvaney himself in the lead. By the way, if anyone's wondering why I'm messing up, FYI, this is really small for me. You guys don't have it that small. The mayor is there, and he thinks it's grand, and he raises his hat as they dash by the stand. The mayor is there, and the aldermen too, all waving big banners of red, white, and blue. And that is the story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. With a roar of its motor, on an airplane appears, and dumps out confetti while everyone cheers. Yay! And that makes a story that's really not bad, but it still could be better. I suppose I could add a Chinaman who eats with a stick, a big magician doing tricks, a 10-foot beard that needs combs. No time for more, I'm almost home. I swung around the corner and dashed through the gate. I ran up the steps, and I felt simply great. For I had a story that no one could beat, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But Dad said quite calmly, I drew up your stool, and tell me the sights on the way home from school. There was so much I could tell, I just couldn't begin. Dad looked at me sharply, and pulled at his chin. He frowned at me sternly from there in his seat. Was there nothing to look at? No people to greet? Did nothing excite you, or make your heart beat? Nothing, I said, growing red as a beet, but a plain horse and a wagon. on Mulberry Streets. Yeah, I think I found the issue with that one. Actually, no, surprisingly, that wasn't the one. How a plain horse and wagon on Mulberry Street grows into a story that no one can beat. So yeah, if you guys are just joining us, we're reading some of the Band 6 as well as other Dr. Seuss stories that we enjoy. And if you guys do like this, we'll do more of them. Surprisingly, the Chinaman part wasn't the part that got this story in trouble.
Was it the jovial gentleman upon the elephant?
Yes.
Of course it was.
Alright, so we'll have Mad Mike joining us a little later on. And you can send him the stuff then. But yeah, let me grab the next one. Let me take a drink. And let me check on our guinea pig, who's sadly not on Mulberry Street. But he is trying to show you his mulberries. Would you stop doing that, baby? Oh, it's because your bunny boy's here? Okay. Your bunny boy's going this way, buddy. See, he's got a little plush that he loves. So yes. Ow. 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 Don't chew on my finger. Here. It is a real guinea pig cam, for those that don't think it is. This is a real guinea pig. So the next one is the zebra. There we go. Oh, this one's done completely different. Wonderful. Good boy. Good boy. You don't want to eat your dinner? All right, ready whenever you are.
All right. Just 1 second. I'm tuning into the stream just to make sure that everything's... excellent. Oh.
He's ready for your story.
Just a brief moment. I'll do this and do my little introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to honor public enemy number 1. I didn't think it would be Dr. Seuss, but welcome to current year.
Next, I'm guessing, will be, sadly, Mr. Rogers.
Next was Eminem, and I don't think they can do...
I just think of the candies trying to get canceled now.
You'll have to forgive me. I had a little feedback there. Eminem was canceled. I don't think they're ever going to get Mr. Rogers. Reason is because pretty sure he was a minor deity.
So what was Dr. Seuss if not a minor deity also?
Maybe. I suppose we'll find out. Time will tell if he survives his posthumous cancellation. All right, I'm ready to begin if you're ready to begin.
Go ahead. The guinea pig's ready, and so is the chats.
Excellent. Well, as we start out, we have a dedication to Helen, which I believe would be Dr. Seuss' real name, Giesel, I believe, his wife, Helen Giesel, until the time of her death, which is very unfortunate, but life is as it is. And so we begin on Beyond Zebra. Said Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell, my very young friend who is learning to spell. The A is for ape and B is for bear. The C is for camel, the H is for hare. The M is for mouse, the R is for rat. I know all 26 letters like that. Though to Z is for zebra, I know them all well, said Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell.
Hold on, we're having some technical difficulties.
Anyone knows, from beginning to end, from start to the close, because Z is as far as the alphabet goes. Then he almost fell flat on his face on the floor when I picked up the chalk and drew 1 letter more. A letter he never had dreamed of before, and I said, you can stop if you want with the Z, because most people stop with the Z, but not me. In the places I go, there are things that I see that I never could spell if I stopped with the Z. I'm telling you, 'cause you're one of my friends. My alphabet starts where your alphabet ends. My alphabet starts with a letter called Yuz. It's the letter I spell. Yuz, a muzz, a tuz. You'll be sort of surprised what there is to be found once you go beyond Z and start poking around. So, on Beyond Zebra, explore like Columbus, discover new letters like Wum is for Wumbus. My high spouting whale who lives high on a hill and who never comes down till it's time to refill. So, on Beyond Z, it's high time you were shown that you really don't know there all is to be known. And then just a step further past Wum is for Wumbus, and there you'll find And is for Umbus, a sort of a cow with one head, one tail. But to milk this great cow, you'll need more than one pail. She has 98 faucets that give milk quite nicely, perhaps 99, I forget just precisely. And boy, she is something most people don't see because most people stop at the Z, but not me. I ramble, I scramble through swamp and through squamp, where the letters get better, like letters like humph. There's a real handy letter. What's handy about it? You just can't spell humpha-dumpha-dumpher without. If you stay home with zebra, you're stuck like a rut, but beyond zebra, you're anything but. Why, I know a fine, fancy letter called fuddle. I use it in spelling Miss Fuddle-de-Duddle. And oh, what a bird of a bird of. Her tail is the longest that's ever been heard of. So long and so fancy she'd be in a fix if she didn't have helpers. It takes about 6 to tag along hoisting Miss Fuddle-de-Duddle's wonderful tail out of muddle-de-puddles. And Grick is for Gricker, who lives in wild weeds and spends his time juggling fresh cinnamon seeds, which he's usually able to find in great number, excepting, of course, the month of September, where cinnamon seeds aren't around in great number, so that month he juggles with seeds of a cucumber. And N is the letter I use to spell nutches, who live in small caves, known as niches for hutches. These nutches have trouble, the biggest one which is the fact that they are more nutches than niches. Each nutch is a niche, knows some other nutch would like to move into his niche very much. So each nutch in a niche has to watch that small niche, or nutches who haven't got niches will snitch. Then we go to Snee, and Snee is for Sneedle, a terrible kind of ferocious mosquito, whose humdinger stinger is sharp as a needle. The Sneedle's too tough to be killed with a smack, so he has to be hunted on elephant back. And your eyes and your elephants have to be keen, and you have to aim fast, and you have to hit clean. And bullets you shoot is a stale navy bean that you've dunked for 3 weeks in old sour kerosene, which is awfully hard work, so it's easy to see why most people stop at the Z, but not me. When you go beyond zebra, who knows? There's no telling what wonderful things you might find yourself spelling. Like Quan is for Quandary, who lives on a shelf in the hole in the ocean alone by himself. And he worries each day from dawn's early light, and he worries, just worries far into the night. He can stand there and worries simply can't stop. Is his top side or bottom side top? And Snad is for Snanders, and oh, they are sad. Oh, the big one you see has the smaller one's shadow. The shadow of the small Snander should be his. I don't understand it, but that's how it is. A terrible mix-up in shadow. Gee whiz. And Spaz is a letter I used to Basin, the beast who belongs to the Nizam of Basum. Handy for traveling, that's why he has 'em. More easy to pick than a suitcase or grip. Those horns carry all that he needs for a trip. A thread, a needle for mending his socks, his toothbrush, a cup, and two three-handed clocks. And his velvet umbrella, his vegetable chopper, and also his gold-plated popping corn popper, and a grasshopper cage for his favorite grasshopper. And floob is for floob boo boo bab bab bubs, who bounce in the water like blueberry tubs. They're no good to eat, you can't cook 'em like steaks, but they're handy in crossing small oceans and lakes. And Zats is for the letter I use to spell Zatsit, whose nose is so high most nobody pats it. And patting his lonely old nose in the least, a fellow could do for this fine friendly beast. So to get there and do it, I built an invention, the three-seater Zazzit's nose padding extension. If you try to drive one, you'll certainly see why most people stop at the Z, but not me. And Jog is my letter for spelling Jagoons, who doodle around in the far desert dunes. Just doodle around crewing very sad tunes about peppermint, peanuts, and pebbles and prunes. And paint pots, polka dots, pinheads and pigs, and their grandmothers, grandfathers, stepsisters' wigs. So you see, there's no end to the things that you might know, depending upon how far beyond zebra you go. I've a letter called Flun, and Flun is for Flunnel, a softish, nice fellow who hides in a tunnel. He only comes out of his hole, I'm afraid, when the right kind of softish, nice music is played, on a kind of hunting horde called the Ogronth, and learn how to play it takes month after month of practicing isn't much fun, and besides, it's quite heavy, weighs almost a ton. So that's why few people bother playing the old grunt. So Flunnel's been out of his tunnel just once. And way past Z is the letter called Itch, and Itch is for itchapods, animals which race round back and forth, back and back, through the air on a high sidewalk between there and here. They're afraid to say there. They're afraid to say here. They think here is too far. They think here is too near. And since here is too near and out there is too far, they are all too scared to roost wherever, so they are. There's a letter called Yek, and Yek is for Yekko, who howls in the underground grotto in Gecko. These Yekkos love echoes, and that is their motto. For best Yekko echoes try Gecko, our grotto. Oh, the things you can find if you don't stay behind. On a world near the sun live two brothers called Vrooms, who strangely enough are built sort of like brooms. They're stuck all alone up in high in the blue, and so to kill time just for something to do, each one of these fellows takes turn with the other in sweeping the dust off his world with his brother. And high is my letter for high gargulorium, for getting me places real fast. I'm all for 'em. They puffle along with their brakes never squeak, and they run every hour, every day of the week, from town of North Nub to the town of East Ounce, making stops in West Bungfield, Yupster and Jounce, and Ipswich and Nipswich, and also South Bounce, and another small town that's too hard to pronounce. The places I took him, I tried to tell young Conrad Cornelius O'Donnell Odell a few brand new wonderful worlds he might spell. I led him around and I tried hard to show. But things are things beyond Z that most people don't know. I took him past Zebra as far as I could, and I think perhaps maybe I did him some good. Because finally he said that this is really great stuff, and I guess the old alphabet isn't enough. Now the letters he uses are something to see. Most people still stop at the Z, but not he.
List of letters for people who stop at Z. I always love the Dr. Seuss style. So did.
I am a fan of that book just because I think it's that kind of whimsical creativity I think he came to so well. Just bringing out these absurdist ideas like why not just create your own alphabet? Why not indeed?
Well, I mean, that's why I like Dr. Seuss so much and why I'm mad people claim that he's what he's not. Because look what he was trying to do. I mean, you were reading this and you were getting challenged by it. Not calling you out or anything, but these were tongue twisters.
Yes, they were. I had to change pace a few times, and I know I screwed up a few words, but I can't imagine anyone who does it perfectly.
To be fair, it's Dr. Seuss words. Is there any way to really mess them up?
Well, I tell you, I don't think he would say there was.
Alright, so the next book we're going to do isn't one of the banned books, but it's one of my favorite stories. And I think it's one that people seem to forget when they think of Dr. Seuss. And why I think this whole Dr. Seuss is a miserable racist thing is funny. And no, we don't have the Lorax story today, but I might do that one another day because that is one of my favorites. But this is a story that I saw and I read when I was younger. And if anyone recognizes this image, you should know instantly what this is. Hold on, I need to hide my mouse. This is one of the rare times you actually see
Hi
it.
there.
Hey, are you ready to do some Dr. Seuss?
Sure.
All right. Taxman, can you send him the books real quick while I get the next one ready?
Sure. Hey, Mad Mike, is it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's see. Do you happen to have the naughty list of Dr. Seuss books? There's 6 of them, but I only have
I do not have the list. No.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and call up the list of banned Dr. Seuss.
Might as well do it.
books.
Let's let everyone know the stupid books that are not the books aren't stupid. I'm saying it as in this is a stupid thing that's happening. So go ahead and let everyone know exactly what books are being banned, and Mike can choose which one, other than the 2 we've already done.
Alrighty then. Here's what we already did. We already did, and to think I saw it on Mulberry Street, and we also did On Beyond Zebra. I just did that just now.
Okay,
What remains is if I ran the zoo, Elia gets pool and the scrambled egg super. And I don't have the Cat's Quizzler, but you can pick from If I Ran the Zoo, McL gets pool, or the scrambled eggs super.
I'll do the last one.
Scrambled eggs super. All right, stand by. I'm going to send you a file.
All right,
So
thank
I'm
you.
going, like I said, I'm doing one that isn't. You can also send this one to him too, so he can follow along. I'm doing one that isn't part of the banned books yet, and I say that very loudly, yet, because this one's going to probably be one of the next set, because this is called The Sneetches, and it should become very obvious why I think almost everybody in the world right now needs to reread this book. Also, The Sneetches very prominently show up in our artwork here, which the posters for this and for Aurora's art will be up tomorrow for sale as a very limited time thing. So, Bosco did an amazing job. But The Sneetches is definitely something and a reason why I think Dr. Seuss being banned for quote-unquote racism is stupid. The Sneetches and Other Stories. Oh, wait. Can we all just, for a moment, say F Random House? Just wanted... I know, we're not cursing, Yes. You people stop publicating Dr. Seuss books over something stupid. You even made Mage mad.
Hey, Taxman, what program am I supposed to open this with?
You can just use regular image viewer.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. Alright, so The Sneetches. Hold on, let me make sure you guys can see it all. Does this not have the words? Hold on. We're missing something very important here. Oh no. We have the pretty pictures, but the Sneak one doesn't have the... Okay, I have to do this a different way, don't I? Hold on. Oh, okay, this book's done completely differently. Okay, hold on, I gotta do this a little bit of a jank way, everyone. It's done, this one's not done like the other ones. So, give me... Let me... No, please don't show my top screen. I don't need to see everyone to see those horrible things. There. Mage judges everyone. By the way, once again, before we start this, if you're going to donate due to what YouTube did earlier in the night, please donate through Streamlabs. All money is actually going towards our wonderful artist. Now that that's been said, I can do my thing. The Sneeches. Now the Starbelly Sneeches. Wait. Okay. Okay. No, I'm pretty sure this... Okay, you know what? I'm not questioning it. Now, the Starbelly Sneeches had bellies with stars, and the Plain Belly Sneeches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small, you think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, the Starbelly Sneeches would brag, "We're the best of the Sneeches on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. They'll have nothing to do with the plain belly sort. Whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. When the Starbelly children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in on the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars, and the Plain Belly children had none upon theirs. When the Starbelly Sneeches had Frankfurter roasts, or picnics or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the Plain Belly Sneeches. They left them out cold, in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near. And that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-bellied Sneeches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean. And I've heard your troubles, I've heard you're unhappy. But I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I have what you need. And my prices are low. And I work at great speed. And my work is 100% guaranteed." Then quickly Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine. And he said, "You want stars like the Starbelly Sneeches? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clamored inside, and then the big machine roared. And it clonked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain-bellied Sneeches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. And then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. "We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same, now you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones who had stars at the first. "We're still the best Sneeches, and they are the worst. But now how in the world will we ever know," they all frowned, "if which kind is what, or the other way round?" Then up came McBean with a quick sly wink, and he said, things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who? That is perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best sneeches on the beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches. Belly stars are no longer in style, said McBean. What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like sneeches who have them on theirs. And that handy machine worked very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then, with their snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and let out a shout. We know who is who, now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of sneeches are sneeches without. Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing stars now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guessed, things really got into a horrible mess. All of the rest of that day, on all those wild, screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up sneeches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced, round and about again. Changing their stars every minute or two, they kept paying money, they kept running through, until neither the plane nor the star bellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was that one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie picked up and he went. He laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They'll never will learn. You can't teach a sneech. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the sneeches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that sneeches are sneeches, and no kind of sneech is the best on the beaches. That day all the sneeches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. All right, that was it. Oh wait, this one has the Zach in it too. Can I read that one too? I think that works too. Somebody made a political joke earlier about that. Go for it. All right, the Zach says, hold on. Hi, sweetie. You like me reading stories? Yes, you do. One day, making tracks in a prairie of pracks, I'm going to hate this one, came the north-going Zacks and the south-going Zacks. Hold on, what number is that? 14. So I need this one. And it happened that both of them came to a place where they bumped. There they stood, foot to foot, face to face. Look here now, the north-going Zack said. I say, you're blocking my path. You are right in my way. I am the north-going Zack. I always go north. Get out of my way now, and let me go forth. Who's in whose way? Snapped the south-going Zack. I always go south, making south-going tracks. So you're in my way, and I ask you to move, and let me go south in my south-going groove. Then the north-going Zack puffed out his chest with pride. I never, he said, take a step to one side, and I'll prove to you that I won't change my ways if I have to keep standing here 59 days. And I'll prove to you, yelled the south-going Zack, that I stood here in the prairie of Prax for 59 years, for I live by a rule that I learned as a boy going to south-going school. Never budge, that's my rule, never budge in the least. Not an inch, not to the west, not an inch to the east. I'll stay here, not budging. I can and I will, if it makes you and me and the whole world stand still. Well, of course the world didn't stand still. The world grew. And a couple of years, a new highway came through. And they built it right over those two stubborn Zacks. Left them there, standing unbudged in their tracks. There we go. All right, so that was... I did a double there. I did the Sneeches and I did the Zacks, which I think both kind of are important right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And the next one we're doing is... Which one did you pick, Mike?
It was the last one. I'm actually opening it up now because I didn't have the right image viewer. Taxman sent it to me.
Oh, that's gonna condone well. Hold on, I get it. I gotta get rid of so many pages here. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, you guys can't see it. So yeah, if you do like the art, like I said on the screen, it does go up for sale for a very limited time starting tomorrow, and I'll make an announcement on my Twitter. There we go. And which one did you send him, Taxman?
I sent him the Neat Reader.
Not the neat reader, the story, I mean.
Oh, let's see. The Sneeches I sent him. I also sent him...
I think you only sent me that one.
Ah, okay. Which one was it? Okay, let me...
Was it Scrambled Egg Super?
Yeah, I think it was that one.
Okay.
That's... All right. Stand by just one moment.
Sorry, guys. We totally prepared for this, I swear it.
I didn't. You asked me this out of the blue.
Yeah, I did. That's how I roll.
Just give me just one moment. I'm just going to test it to make sure it works correctly, and then I'll send it over for you.
No worries. I got to reset something on my end, too. Because our image viewer on my end doesn't want to work properly. You're going to make me do this the hard way, aren't you? Guinea Pigget, what are you doing? What are you chewing on? Don't you chew on that. Don't you chew on that. Oh, that's why it's not working. Come on, you should be working. Did I accidentally delete it? No, I'm not that dumb. Oh, I'm that dumb. Don't squeak and agree with me.
All right.
I do not remember this one. I'm going to be honest with you.
Just one second. I'm going to send it right over. And upload it.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Tenchi. $10 donation for the art and for the children. Both are very important.
You...
There we go.
Okay, that seemed to have worked. Question is, how the hell do I view it?
I just used a regular image viewer from the computer.
Well, Taxman sent me one. I'm just trying to figure out how the hell to navigate it. It wouldn't work on like photos or anything, so I didn't really know what to do.
As far as intuitive programs goes, I wouldn't class this one in top 10. The only real advantage to it is that it's free.
Yeah, it also shows that I need to sign up for something.
Just,
You can just skip that.
just use the photo viewer that Microsoft gives you.
I tried. It didn't work.
Really? Because I'm not having an issue with that.
Do you have the CBR comic book reader?
You can't open the JPEGs?
I don't think I do have that, but I know where to get it.
Okay, try a CD display if you have it. That's a pretty good one. Here, I'll send you that as well.
Yeah, I found the comic book reader.
It's a JPEG. Oh, you know what?
I
Not
know,
the worst
I
thing we could have had
understand why it
happen
wouldn't
tonight.
just load on photos. It was stupid.
Microsoft doesn't like Dr. Seuss either. It's okay. At least it's not like YouTube claiming he does sexual things, and that still makes me laugh.
Okay.
There you go. If you don't have a handy.
So welcome everyone just joining us tonight, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the guinea pig cam. Come here. Get away from that. Go on, get away from my watch. There you go, baby prince. Come on. Eat your treats.
Okay.
Genuinely makes me wonder what his process was for these illustrations.
Okay, there we go.
He just like drawing silly things.
Well, yeah, I get that, but the way it's shaded, it's all very directional. And
Oh, well, he used to do, it's because originally he did political and satire stuff for newspapers, and newspaper is black and white, so you can only have like a certain look to pick it up properly, and that's where the shading style he did came from. Was it had to be something clear and unique for that political and social commentary stuff, like, because it wouldn't show in the old newspaper print otherwise, because old newspaper print is really hard to work with. I know this from trying to do stuff for the comic. And the more shading you do in certain areas, that shows up while the rest of the stuff will show up lighter. That's actually why he got this stylization. I also did a paper on him. If anyone's wondering why I also know so much about this.
Nothing like a college education.
Which I did not have. I just had a really big a-hole of a English teacher one day who expected us all to fail, and jokes on them. Some of us actually like getting to research different authors, and I got laughed at for picking Dr. Seuss because he's kiddish. Thank you for the guinea pig ball cam, by the way. Really, thank you.
All right, I do actually have it now.
Please, Mage, turn around. Y'all getting some extra views tonight.
Sounds like Mike's all set, so I'll go ahead and mute myself.
Yeah, I'll do the same on my end. It's actually a smart idea. You guys will hear me.
All right, whenever you guys are... All right, you guys are both muted. All right. So, hang on a sec. We got everything up, correct? Yep, okay. Scrambled Eggs Super by Dr. Seuss. And we have a nice little image of the camel walking across the little things there. Scrambled Eggs Super by Dr. Seuss. Now we're to the first page. I don't like to brag and I don't like to boast, said Peter T. Hooper, but speaking of toast, and speaking of kitchens and ketchup and cake, and kettles and stoves and the stuff people bake, well, I don't like to brag, but I'm telling you, Liz, that speaking of cooks, I'm the best that there is. Why, only last Tuesday, when Mother was out, I really cooked something worth talking about. You see, I was sitting here, resting my legs, and I happened to pick up a couple of eggs. And I sort of got thinking, it's sort of a shame that scrambled eggs always taste the same. And that's because ever since goodness knows when, they've always been made from the eggs of a hen. Just a plain common hen. What a dumb thing to use with all of the other fine eggs you could choose. And so I decided that just for a change, I'd scramble an egg, kind of egg on the range. Some fine fancy eggs that no other cook cooks, like the eggs of the ruffle next Sala Magoo. A Sala Magooks? Say they be good. So I went out and found some as quick as I could. And while I was lugging them back to the house, I happened to notice a tussle-topped grouse in a tree down the street, and I knew from her looks that her egg and the egg of the Salamagooks ought to mix mighty well, ought to taste simply super when scrambled together by Peter T. Hooper. So I took those eggs home and I frizzled them up and I added some sugar, 2/3 of a cup, and a small pinch of pepper, and also a pound of horseradish sauce that was sitting around. And also some nuts. Then I tasted the stuff, and it tasted quite fine, but not quite fine enough. To make the best scramble that ever been made, a cook has to hook the best eggs ever laid. So I drove to the country, quite rather far out, and I studied the birds that were flitting about. I looked with a great care at a mop-noodled finch. I looked at a beak bald-headed Grinch, and also I looked at a shade-roasted quail, who was roasting right under a lax tail. And I looked at a spritz and a flannel winged jay, but I just didn't stop. I kept right on my way, because they didn't have eggs. They weren't laying that day. Then suddenly, boy, up that hill a short space, birds! They were laying all over the place. Great, happy, gay families with uncles and cousins, all laying fine, strictly fresh eggs by the dozens. Why, I'd have a scramble more super than super. Scrambled eggs super duper dee booper. Special deluxe, a la Peter te Hooper. I picked out the eggs in a most careful way. I only picked those that I knew were grade A. I only took eggs from the very best fowl, so I didn't take eggs from the twiddler owls, because I knew that the eggs of those fellows who twiddle taste sort of like dust from under a bass fiddle. I went for the kind that were mellow and sweet, and the world's sweetest eggs are the eggs of the queet, which is due to those very sweet toast which they eat. And those trout, well, they're sweet, because they only eat wogs. And wogs, after all, are the world's sweetest frogs. And the reason they're sweet is whenever they lunch, it's always the world's sweetest bees that they munch. And the reason no bee can be sweeter than these, the only eat blossoms of buzzle-nut trees. And these buzzle-nut blossoms are sweeter than sweet, and that's why I nabbed several eggs from the queet. But I passed up the eggs of a bird called a strudel, who's sort of a stork, but with fur like a poodle. For they say that the eggs of this kind of stork are goosey like glue, and they stick to your fork. And the yolks of these eggs, I'm told, taste like fleece, while the white tastes like very old bicycle grease. The places I hiked to, the roads that I rambled, to find the best eggs that have ever been scrambled. I hunted new birds along wild, tangled trails, through gullies and guckies, down slingles and dales. I wriggled my way and I crawled at a creep, through a forest of ferns that was 40 miles deep. And I mushed through the brush till I found a fine quigger, whose eggs are as big as a pinhead, no bigger. Then I went for the eggs of a long-legged quong. Know this quong? Well, she's built just a little bit wrong, for her legs are so terribly, terribly long that she has to lay eggs 20 feet in the air, and they drop with a plop to the ground from up there. So unless you can catch them before the eggs crash, you haven't got eggs, you've got long-legger hash. Eggs I collected 302, but I needed still more, and I suddenly knew that the job was too big for one fellow to do. So I telegraphed north to some friends near Fazol, which is 10 miles or so just beyond the North Pole. And they all of them jumped in their katamasik, which is sort of a boat made of sea leopard hide, which they sailed out to sea to go look for a grice, which is sort of a bird which lays on the ice, which they grabbed with a tool which is known as a squitch, because those eggs are too cold to be touched without which. And while they were sending those eggs, I got word of a bird that does something that's almost unheard of. It's hard to believe, but this bird called the pelf lays eggs that are 3 times as big as itself. How that Pelf ever learned such a difficult trick, I never found out, but I found that egg quick, and I managed to get it down out of the nest and home to the kitchen along with the rest. But I didn't stop then, because I knew of some ducks by the name of the single file Zamazian Zucks, who strode single file through the mountains of Zooms, quite oddly enough with their eggs on their thumbs. And some fellows in Zooms whom I happen to know just happened to capture 1,000 or so. And they wrapped up their eggs and they muled them by air, marked special delivery, handle with care. I needed more helpers, and so faux assistance. I called up a fellow named Ali, long distance. And Ali, as soon as he hung up the phone, picked up a small basket and started alone to climb the steep crags and the jags of Mount Struku to fetch me the egg of a Mr. Struku cuckoo. Now these Mr. Struku cuckoos are rather small gals, but these Mr. Strukukus have lots of big pals. They died from the skies with wild crackling shrikes, and they jabbed at his legs, and they stabbed at his cheeks with their yammering, clamoring, hammering beaks. But Ali, Beav Ali, he thought his way through, and he sent me that egg, as I knew he would do. For my scrambled egg super de duper de booper, special de lure a la Peter de Hooper. In the meanwhile, of course, I was keeping real busy collecting the eggs of the 3 eyelash tizzy. They're quite hard to reach, so I wrote on the top of a him icka schnim ak schnim icka schnapp. Then I found a great flock of southwest-facing cranes, and I guess they've got something that's wrong with their brains. For this kind of a crane, which she's guarding her nest, while always stand facing precisely southwest. So to get at those eggs wasn't hard in the least. I came from behind, from precisely northeast. And I captured the egg of a grickly gractus, who lays them up high in a prickly cactus. Then I went for some ziffs. They're exactly like zuffs, but the ziffs live on cliffs and the zuffs live on bluffs. And seeing how bluffs are exactly like cliffs, it's mighty hard telling the zuffs from the ziffs. But I know that the egg that I got from the bluffs, if it wasn't a ziffs, from the cliffs was a zuffs. Now I needed the egg of a mock-watching sneth, who's a bird, who's so big she scares people to death. And this awful big bird, well, the reason they name her the moth-watching sneech, the moth-watching sneth, is 'cause that's how they tame her. She's like a watching moths. She likes watching moths, sort of quiets her mind. And while she is watching, you sneak up behind, and you yank out her egg. So I got one, of course, with the help of some friends and a very fast horse. If you want to get eggs you can't buy at a store, you have to do things never thought of before. Why, to get at the eggs of one very small dwarf, we had to pry all of one mountaintop off. Then I heard of some birds who lay eggs, if you please, that taste like the air in the holes in Swiss cheese. And they live in big Zinzibar trees. So I ordered a tree full. The job was immense, but I needed those eggs and said, hang the expense. I still needed more. I still needed one more, and I saved it for last. The egg of the frightful bombasque aghast. And that bird is so mean, and that bird is so fast, that I had to escape on a jiffic adjust. A fleet-footed beast who can run like a deer, but looks sort of deficient. I can't even read that. You secrets by ear. I apologize. All through with the searching, all through with the looking, I had all I needed, and now for the cooking. I rushed to the kitchen, the place where I'd snacked 'em. I rolled up my sleeves, I unpacked 'em and cracked 'em, and shucked 'em in 99 pans. When I mixed in some beans, I used 55 cans. Then I mixed in some ginger, 9 prunes and 3 figs, and parsley, quite sparsely, just 22 sprigs. Then I added 6 cinnamon sticks and a clove, and my scramble was made to go on the stove. It's ready to go on the stove. And you know how they tasted? They tasted just they tasted exactly just like scrambled eggs. Super de duper, de booper, special deluxe, a la Peter de Hooper. Oh God, I'm sorry about that. I could barely read some of those. I'm trying to do the zoom function on this thing, and I could barely.
Yeah, I
read
know.
That red page was bad.
I was looking at that, going, I got no clue what that's saying. They're easier to read actual physical books than digital.
No, 100%. I get that.
Mage, could you not keep showing everyone your balls? Apparently not. Joke's on you, I can move the webcam now. So that was Scrambled Egg Super. And the weird part was I didn't remember that book till you got halfway through, and I'm like, wait a minute. I do remember that one. Alright, so the next choice, I believe, is Taxman, so he gets to pick his next book.
Let's see. Well, we do have some others.
What was people supposed to be coming in here to hate on this stream? We're just happily reading some Dr. Seuss.
What kind of monster hates on Dr. Seuss? Don't answer that.
Well, I mean, there's a teacher on Twitter.
Let's see. I figure if we're going to read another one of the banned ones, which seems to be the theme, and I can't say McElligot's Pool. I can't.
McElligot's.
Sorry, it's not.
I'm thinking, it's been so long since I've actually had to read that book. It's, I think, Everyone take a drink. This is going to be a long book when we do it. You want to do If I Ran a Zoo?
I think that's exactly what I'm going to do.
He's going to run the zoo.
I sometimes feel like I already do.
You could...
You can let me know when it's up.
It's up and ready for you. And the guinea pig has already vanished because he heard the word zoo. There he is. Hold on.
Well,
I gotta fix the webcam. Give me a second. He's being a little bit of a diva for everybody right now. There we go. Okay.
For Tony and Michael Gordon Tackaberry Thompson. Huh. That's a heck of a dedication to have. And so we begin. It's a pretty good zoo, said Gerald McGrew, and the fellow who runs it seems proud of it too. But if I ran the zoo, says young Gerald McGrew, I'd make a few changes. That's just what I'd do. The lions and tigers and that kind of stuff they have up there now are not quite good enough. You see, things like these in just any old zoo, they're awfully old-fashioned. I want something new. So I'd open each cage, I'd unlock every pen, let the animals go, and then start over again, and somehow or other I think I could find some beasts of a much more unusual kind. A four-footed lion, lion's not much of a beast, the one in my zoo would have 10 feet at least, 5 legs on the left and 5 more on the right, then people will stare and they'll say, "What a sight! This zookeeper, a new keeper Gerald's quite keen. That's the gold darndest lion I have ever seen. My new zoo McGrew Zoo will make people talk. My new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will make people gawk at the strangest odd creatures that ever did walk. I'll get you for my zoo, a new short of a hen who roosts in another hen's topknot, and then another one roosts in the topknot of his, and another in his, and another in his, and forth and upward and onward. Gee whiz. But that's just a start. I'll do better than that. They'll see me next day in my zookeeper's hat, coming into my zoo with an elephant cat. They'll be so surprised they'll swallow their gum. I'll ask when they see my strange animals come. Where do you suppose he gets things like that from? His animals all have such very odd faces. I'll bet he must hunt them in rather odd places. And that's what I'll do, said young Gerald McGrew. If you want to catch beasts you don't see every day, you have to go places quite out of the way. You have to go places no others can get to. You have to go cold, and you have to go wet too. Up past the North Pole where the frozen winds squeal, I'll go and I'll hunt in my Screagle mobile and bring back a family of what do you know? And that's how my new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will grow. I'll hunt in the mountains of Zamba Tomtant with helpers who all wear their eyes with at a slant, and capture a fine fluffy bird called the bustard, who only eats custard with sauce made of mustard, and also a very fine beast called the flustered, who only eats mustard with sauce made of custard. I'll catch 'em in caves, I'll catch 'em in brooks, I'll catch 'em in crannies, I'll catch 'em in nooks that you don't read about in geography books. I'll catch 'em in countries that no one can spell, like the country of Matafapatafapel. In a country like that, if a hunt is clever, he'll hunt up some beast that you never saw ever. I'll load up 5 boats with a family of jotes, whose feet are like cows, but wear squirrel skin coats, and sit down like dogs, have voices like goats, excepting they can't sing the very high notes. And then I'll go down to the wilds of Nantucket and capture a family of lunks in a bucket. Then people will say, now I like the boy heaps, and his new zoo, McGrew Zoo, is growing by leaps. He captures them wild, and he captures them meek. He captures them slim, and he captures them sleek. What do you suppose he will capture next week? I'll capture one tiny, I'll capture one cute, I'll capture a deer that no hunter would shoot, a deer that's so nice he could sleep in your bed if it weren't for those horns he has on his head. And speaking of horns that are just a bit queer, I'll bring back a family of very odd deer. A father, a mother, 2 sisters, a brother, whose horns are connected one from one to the other, whose horns are so mixed they can't tell them apart. I can't tell where they end and can't tell where they start. Each deer's mighty puzzled, he never found yet if his horns are hers or the other way round. I'll capture them fat and I'll capture them scrawny. I'll capture a scragglefoot Magulligatawny, a high-stepping animal and as fast as the wind from the blistering sands of the desert of Zend. This beast is the beast that the brave chieftain ride when they want to go fast to find some place to hide. A Magulliganti is fine for my zoo, and so is a chieftain. I'll bring one back too. In the far western part of southeast North Dakota lives a very fine animal called the iota, but I'll capture one who is much finer in the northeastern west part of South Carolina. People see him, they'll say, now by thunder, this new zoo, McGrew Zoo, is really wonder. Most boats are quite friendly, but still in some lands, some beasts are too dangerous to catch with bare hands. For those that are ugly and vicious and mean, I'll build a bad animal catching machine. It's rather expensive to build such a kit, but with it, a hunter can never get bit. A zoo should have bugs, so I'll capture a thurwal whose legs are snarled up in a terrible snarl. And then I'll go out and I'll capture some chugs, some keen shooter, mean shooter, bean shooter bugs. I'll go to the African Isles of Yerkes and bring back a tizzle-top tufted mazurka, a kind of canary with quite a tall throat. His neck is so long he swallows an oat. For breakfast, the first day of April, they say, it has to go down such a very long way that it gets to his stomach the 15th of May. I'll bag a big bug who is very surprising, a feller who has a propeller for rising and zooming around, making cross-country hops from Texas to Boston with only 2 stops. Now that sort of thing for bugs is just tops. And when I've caught him, the next thing you know, I'll go and I'll capture a wild tic-tac-toe with X's that win and zeros that lose. He'll look mighty good in this zoo of McGrews. I'll bring back a gusser, a gherkin, a gasket, and then a gooch from a wild of Nantuscasket. And 8 Persian princes will carry the basket, but what their names are, I don't know, so don't ask it. In a cave of Gakum lives a beast called the Natch. That no one hunter's been able to catch. He's hidden for years in a cave with a pout, and no one's been able to make him come out, but I'll coax him out with a wonderful meal that's cooked by my cooks in my cooker mobile. They'll fix up a dish that is just to his taste. 3 chicken croquettes made of library paste, then sprinkled with peanut shucks pickled in spice, then baked at 600 degrees, and then iced. It's mighty hard cooking to cook up such feasts, but that's how the new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets beasts. I'll go to the faraway mountains of Tobask, near the river of Nabask. I'll bring back an obask. What kind of thing am a bask? Who only eats rhubarb and corn on the kabask. Then people will flock to my zoo in a mabask. McGrew, they will say, does a wonderful jabask. He hunts with such vim, he hunts with such vigor. His new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets bigger and bigger. And speaking of bird, there's a Russian Paluski, whose head ski is red ski and belly is blue ski. I'll get one of them for my Zooski McGrewski. And then the whole town will gasp, why, this boy never sleeps. No keeper before ever keeps what he keeps. There's no telling what that young fellow will do, and then just to show them, I'll sail to Kertrue and bring back an Itcutch, a Preep, and a Prue, a Nurgle, a Nerd, and a Seersucker, too. I'll hunt in the jungles of Hipponohungus, and I'll bring back a flock of wild Biphonobungus. The Biphonobungus from Hipponohungus are better than those down in Dipponodungus, and smarter than those out in Nippononungus, and that's why I'll catch 'em in Hipponohungus instead of those others Nungus and Dungus, and people will say when they see the Bips bounding, this zookeeper, new keeper, he's simply astounding. He travels so far you'd think he would drop. Then do you suppose this young fellow will stop? Stop? Well, I should, but I won't stop until I've captured a Flism, a Whizzamadil, the world's biggest bird from the Isle of Wark, who eats pine trees and spits out the bark. And boy, when I get him back to my park, the whole world will say, the young McGrew's made his mark. He's built a zoo better than Noah's whole ark. These wonderful, marvelous beasts that he chooses have made him the greater of all the McGrueses. Wow, they'll all cheer. What this zoo must be worth. It's gall darn it zoo. It's on the face of the earth. Yes, that's what I'd do, said young Gerald McGrew. I'd make a few changes if I ran the zoo.
Let's all give a hand to
And that
poor
is the
Taxman as he
end.
slowly dies.
What's that?
I said, let's give a hand for Taxman as he slowly dies reading that. How did we get through these as kids?
Very carefully and probably with very bad grammar.
So I think I'll do the last two. Because I think you two are going to die.
I'm doing all right.
Do you want to do Why can't any of us get this one?
Whoa.
McElligot's pool. I'm not going to be able to say it right again.
McElligot's.
Oh, I remember how to... I know how to say it, because I know I've done this story. Also, I love the art and the cover for this. The coloration is really, really nice. Breathe in, breathe out. So, yeah, if you guys enjoy this, I can't speak anymore. I'll do more reading streams. Why am I getting glare? Oh, because I clapped my hands. I'm sorry, I scared you. Now you're mad at me. Now the guinea pig's mad. Ooh! He is more than just mad. He's biting. Come on, buddy. Come on. Stop biting. You done? Put my hand near you. You gonna bite me? Yeah, okay. You're good. You're good. You gave me your alright. See, that's how I know Mage is no longer mad at me. See? He won't bite me now. Good boy. Yes, he glares at the camera. Alright. Alright. Really? We just got this. McElligot's Pond. Or McElligot's Pool. Wow! I might need booze. I just wanted to do the butter battle.
Do you want me to read it? I only did one of them.
Yeah, go for it. Have Taxman send it too.
Yep.
Just really quick, I love the way they did the paint color for this. This is actually one of the first Dr. Seuss books, believe it or not. And it's one that's overlooked a lot, which is why I think it's kind of funny that it's getting canceled, because most people's responses is, eh? He actually also did do adult books, by the way. It wasn't a joke when I made that joke on Twitter. I don't remember the name of it, though. I have to look it up. There is an adult book he did, but it's not what you guys think. It's just a book geared toward adults. If you look up Dr. Seuss books, you'll find it.
The way I would describe that is Dr. Seuss made a book that was not intended for children.
Okay.
Yeah, the tagline of it is for... what was it? Because I just saw it at the bookstore the other day. A children's book for adults. No, he didn't do anything. Well, yeah, if you want his more mature stuff, go look at his political satires, guys.
Okay, black and white I think I can do, since that's pretty contrasting.
Ready whenever you are.
Okay.
I'll mute myself.
We're looking at McElligot's. Before I do this, I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. McElligot's Pool by Dr. Seuss. Young man, laughed the farmer, you're sort of a fool. You'll never catch fish. in Mr. Elegant's pool. The pool is too small, and you might as well know it. When people have junk, here's the place that they throw it. You might catch a boot, or you might catch a can, you might catch a bottle. But listen, young man, if you sat 50 years with your worms and your wishes, you'd grow a long beard long before you'd catch fishes. Because you never can tell what's on. I can't even read that. Because you never can tell what goes on down below. This pool might be bigger than you or I know. Answered Marco. It may be you're right. I've been here 3 hours without one single bite. There might be no fish, but again, well, there might. This might be a pool like I've read of in books. Oh, God, I can't read that. Correct? I apologize.
Want me to take it over?
Yeah, sorry. I can't. For some reason, I can't read it on this. The fidelity of it is horrible.
That's fine. This might be a pool like I've read in books. What the fuck? Okay, no.
You're having the same problem, aren't you?
Yeah, hold on.
Hold on.
I know how to do this, and
I
it's
have
gonna.
a better Here, I have a better version. What page are we on?
Hang on.
We're on page 8.
All right. This might be a pool like I've read in. Whoa. Okay.
Literally,
Hold on.
everyone's getting caught on that. Hold on, I'll get the word.
Yeah.
I can make it bigger. That did not help us one bit.
This might be a pool like I've read of in books. Connected to one is those underground brooks. An underground river that starts here and flows right under the pasture, and then, well, who knows? It might go along down there, no one can see, right under the State Highway 203, right under the wagons, right under the toes of Mrs. Umbroso, who's hanging out clothes. It might keep on flowing, perhaps, who can tell, right under the people in Sneedle's Hotel, right under the grass where they're playing croquet, and then under the mountains and far, far away.
I'll take the next
It might
page. Let's go from page to page, each one of us, because I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, that's fun. All right.
This might be a river. Now, mightn't it be? Connecting McElliot's pool with the sea. Then maybe some fish might be swimming toward me. If such a thing could be, they certainly would be.
Some very smart fellow might point out the way to the place where I'm fishing, and that's why I stay. If I wait long enough, if I'm patient and cool, who knows what I'd catch in McElligot's pool?
I might catch a thin fish. I might catch a stout fish. I might catch a short or a long, drawn-out fish, and any kind, any shape, any color or size. I might catch some fish that would open your eyes.
I won't be surprised if a dogfish appears, complete with a collar and a long floppy ears, woofing along, and perhaps he might chase a whole lot of catfish right straight to this place. Meow.
I might catch a fish with a pinwheel-like tail. I might catch a fish who has fins like a sail. I might catch some young fish, some high-jumping friskers. I might catch an old one with long flowing whiskers. I might catch a fish with a long curly nose. I might catch a fish like a rooster that crows. I might catch a fish with a checkerboarded belly, or even a fish made of strawberry jelly.
I might catch a seahorse. Now, mightn't I now? I might catch a fish who's partly a cow.
Some fish from the tropics, all sunburned and hot, might decide to swim up. Well, they might not. Racing up north for a chance to get cool. Full steam? Okay, full steam ahead for McElliot's pool.
Some Eskimo fish from beyond Hudson Bay might decide to swim down, might be headed this way. It's a pretty long trip, but they might and they may.
I might catch an eel. Well, I might, it depends. A long, twisty eel with a lot of strange bends, and oddly enough, with a head on both ends. One doesn't catch this kind of fish as a rule, but chances are fine in McElliot's pool.
Really? I might catch a fish with a terrible grouch, or a Australian fish with a kangaroo's pouch.
Who wants to catch small ones like mackerel or trout? Say, I'll catch a sawfish. I'll catch a sawfish with such a long snout that he needs an assistant to help him about. If I wait long enough, if I'm patient and cool, who knows what I'll catch in McElligot's pool?
Some roughneck old lobster, all gristle and muscle, might grab at my bait. Then I would have a tussle. To land one so tough might take 2-3 hours, but next might be easy.
The kind that likes flowers. Aw. I'm just going to stay in that page for a minute because that's cute. Okay, moving on.
I might catch some sort of fast-moving bloke who zips through the waves with an overarm stroke. I might and I may, and that's really no joke.
A fish even faster, a fish, if you please, who slides down the slides on strange islands on skis. He might ski on over and pay me a visit. That's not impossible, really, now, is it?
Some circus fish from an acrobatic school, might stage a big show in McElliot's pool.
Or I might catch a fish from a stranger place yet, from the world's highest river in far off Tibet, where the falls are so steep that it's dangerous to ride them. So the fish put up chaits, and they flow down beside them. Okay, I don't know if I read that right. Float
I
down
think shoot.
beside them. I apologize.
From the world's deepest ocean, from way down below, from down in the mud where the deep divers go, from down in the mire and the muck and the murk, I might catch some fish who are all going glurk.
Whales, I'll catch whales, yes, a whole herd of whales, all spouting their spouts and all thrashing their tails. I'll catch 50 whales, then I'll stop for the day. 'Cause there's... Can anyone make that word out? I can't.
Nothing.
Something that's bigger than whales, so they say. Oh, there's nothing that's bigger than whales, so they say. Still, of course, it might be.
That this is something bigger. Some sort of a kind of a thingamajigger. A fish that's as big, if you know what I mean, that he makes a whale
Look
like a tiny sardine.
Okay.
Oh, the sea is so full of a number of fish. If a fellow is patient, he might get his wish.
And that's why I think that I'm not such a fool when I sit here and fish in McElliot's pool.
It's the end. Damn, I
Yeah.
love when a plan comes together.
It really did work. So we have one more story for tonight. If you guys like this, next time we do more Dr. Seuss, we'll try to find some better versions. It is a little... we did what we could, because some of these are kind of hard to find right now.
Oh, yeah.
But the last book we're doing, and if ever you want to do it again where everybody gets a page, we're doing the Butter Battle book. Do you guys want to join in, or do you want me to read this one?
Hold on, let's check something out. Give me 2 minutes while I check this one out. Ah, damn you. All right, I'll send over a copy to Mike. I think I can
Thank you.
give.
Oh, you like it when I pet your tail. Oh yeah, I found your sweet spot, guinea pig.
Let's have a look at this one. Oh, this one. Ah. I can't even read it. It's so tiny.
Oh, I'm gonna die. I can do this. I can do this. Just in case, give me a second. I'm gonna have to do it.
Hold on.
Actually, I might have a way to do this. 1 second. Where's my cell phone?
If you open this up in PDF editor, you can zoom in and it doesn't destroy the fidelity.
I can cheat. I'm gonna use my cell phone. I'm gonna see if I can open this on there. Yeah, you know what? Might as well make my eyes work for it. So does everyone want to join in on this?
I mean, sure. I mean, like I said, if you have like a PDF editor, that's what it gave me to open this up with for some reason, and it looks perfectly fine.
See, mine is doing it through like the Windows thing.
Oh.
But I can do this. On the last day of summer, 10 houses... You know, after I say that. Yep, okay. 10 hours, okay. On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so... Okay, that threw me off. Why doesn't it rhyme? What did you do, Dr. Seuss? In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he had dared to come close, I could give him a twitch with my tuft, trickly, snickleberry switch. For a while he stood silent, and finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall we are yolks. On the other side of this wall are the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, It's high time you knew of the terrible, horrible thing that Zooks do. In every Zook house, in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down. But we Yooks, as you know, when we're breakfast or sup, spread our butter, Grandpa said, with the butter side up. That's right. Honest way. That's the right honest way, Grandpa gritted his teeth. So you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why, as a youth, I made watching my goal. Watching Zooks for the Zook watching Border Patrol. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so... What the hell? Hold on. There's something wrong with the version I have. Give me 1 second. Okay, I see what happened. Sorry. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he dared to come close, I'd give him a twitch with my tufted, prickly, snickberry switch. For For a while that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a rude Zook by the name of Vanish snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken off switch, with my head hung in shame, to the chief, This is really small. Sorry to everyone why I keep stopping. It is really small. The chief Yukazu, in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smirked. He said, "You're not to blame. And those Zooks their Zooks will be sorry. They started this game. We'll dress you up right in a fantastic suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in the back room to... Does that say figure? Oh, why did this have to be printed so bad? Not the book itself. There we go. To figure out how to build me some sort of triple sling jigger. I am so sorry. You guys have no idea how small this thing is for me. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt bigger. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor, right up to Vinich with my hands on the trigger. "I'll have you no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Vinich looked quickly. Sickly, he ran away quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit with a new big machine. He snarled and he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hands on the trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock schnigger." I have no idea if I said that right. Will fling 'em right back just as quickly as we catch them. We'll have no more nonsense. We'll take no more gup. You from the Yooks who eat bread with butter side up. "I have failed, sir," I sobbed, as I made my report to the chief Yakuru in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, my dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping wazoo zinger one. My bright boys are thinking they're on the right track. They'll think one up quick, and we'll send you right back." They thought up a great one. They certainly did. They thought up a gun called the Kickapoo Kid. I really hate whoever uploaded this. Let's see. They loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder and ants' eggs and bees' legs and dried fried clam chowder. And they certainly trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's fire gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo spaniel, and I marched back toward the wall, with our heads up high, while everyone cheered, and their cheers filled the sky. "Fight! Fight! Fight! The butter side up! Do or die. Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die. But we sure did get roasted. Poor Daniel and I. Vinitch was there too, and he said, the old pig, the boys in my back room invented this rig. The old eight-nozzled elephant-toted boom-a-bazoo. It shoots high-capacity, sour cherry stone pits, and will put your dumb kickapoo kid on the fritz. Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more by Vinetch, I was bested and beat. Once again I limped home from the street in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low as I thought that they ever could go, when I heard a boom blah and a diddly doo dee, and our butter up band marched up over the hill. God, somebody please scan these things properly. Our chief Yakazuru had sent them to meet me, along with the right side up song girls to greet me. They sang, God, oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter, and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. My boy, smiled Chief Yukazu, we've just voted and made you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready to get in it. The big war is coming. You're going to be in it. And what's more, this time you are certain to win. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they produced up now. In their great new machine, you'll fly over the wall and clobber those butter-down Zooks once and for all. The boys in the back room sure knew how to... Yeah, I'm doing this. Knew how to putter. They made me a thing called the utter sputter, and I jumped aboard with my heart all aflutter, and steered towards the land of the butter side downer. The upside down butter, I tried. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new, no one quite exactly knew just what it would do. But it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the Zooks as I flew, and gum up that upside down butter they chew. I was racing. You know what? You're just gonna keep doing that. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, if you sprinkle a Zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well. Von Itch had a spatter exactly like mine, and he yelled, my blue goo is working just fine. And I'm here to say that if you Zooks can goo Zooks, you'd better forget, 'cause Zooks can goo Ukes. I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright dependent, disturbed and depressed. And I saw just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all of the girls in the butter-up band. The chief drum majorette, Ms. Yuki Onsu, said, that was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and the chief Yukakaru has been looking for you. I raced to his office. The place was a sight. "Have no frets," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright backroom boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It's filled with mysterious mook-laka-moo. You can blow all those zooks clear to Salamanagoo. They've invented an itsy-bitsy big boy boomer. You just run to the wall like a nice little man. Drop this bomb on the zooks just as fast as you can. I have ordered all ukes to stay safe underground while the bitsy big boy boomer is around." And as I raced to the wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last uke in our land was obeying our chief Yukakaroo, Grimm's command. They were all marching with... Hang it every time. They were all bravely marching with bonnets aflutter down a hole for their country and right side up butter. And that's when grandfather found me. He grabbed me, he said, "You should be down the hole, and you're up here instead? But perhaps this is all the better somehow. You might see me make history right here and now." Grandpa leapt up to the wall with a leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat. With bopulous beep, he screamed, "Here's the end of the terrible town full of zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant we heard a clup-clup of the feet on the wall of old Von Ish Clup Up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy boomeroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "into pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens." "Grandpa!" I shouted. "Be careful! Oh, gee! Who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient," said Grandpa. "We'll see. We'll see." And one of the best parts about this book is there's no end, because this entire book was based on the Cold War. Basically, Dr. Seuss did not agree with the Cold War or us being potentially at a war that could end the world with Russia. And he had already seen what happened during World War II when the bombs had dropped. And knowing that Russia had bombs, exactly, there's no winner and there's no ending to that story. Because he figured this out, kids' imaginations would let them figure out how dangerous it is on their own. Because he didn't think kids were stupid. Like people do nowadays. And sorry that I had to keep making it so big, guys. It's just, it's really badly scanned. But this also has the animation up on YouTube. And I really suggest watching it, because it's really well done.